Welcome to MoonDog Media Setionz.
Hey there, everybody. This is Michael B. Dillon with MoonDog Media. This is our first episode of MoonDog Setionz, which is a program that is completely geared toward making sure that musicians who are not working right now are able to get their work featured and to get their love from you guys, the fans. Right now, with 2020 going on the way it is, a lot of people, they haven't really thought about what's going on with musicians and other artists. My background is in music myself as a live sound engineer for 16 years. This year has been very, very tough because there's nowhere you can go to listen to music. Well, then there's nowhere that's hiring these artists. So what we've done is we've built up this platform to get it going, to try and get you guys, the fans, to show your love to the musicians that are working right here in the state of Alaska. We are at Mad Men Studios. It's a really great place. If you do anything with photography, with videography, make sure you come check these guys out. They got I think a minimum of 4 studios here. We're using 2 of them actually to make this show. You're going to see the other one here in just a little bit. But right now I need to introduce my good friend, my family, the one, the only, D the Lyricist.
What's happening, man? What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. It's so great to have you down here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's you were one of the first people I thought of right off the bat. It's I'm going to start doing a podcast. I got to get a hold of D.
Appreciate it, brother.
Y'all may not know this, but D and I, we go back. We go back about 20 years. So, in fact, D was the first concert that I ever did live sound for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was down Klondike Mike's.
Klondike Mike's, good old Klondike's back in the day, UTN. Mm-hmm. Shout out UTN 574, you know what I'm saying? Chose, Mr. C. You know, we were blazing a lot of ground back then, and if it wasn't for y'all getting us that contract, I think I was 19. I was 19 the first time I went in there and played.
Oh damn!
Yeah, I was 19 years old, man, and here I am 32. So it was a minute. It was a minute ago. But it was, yeah. And I appreciate that, man. I never told you how much I thank you for that, man.
What I'm saying? I remember doing DJ nights where it was about every single weekend for a while. I was the DJ at Klondike's, and man, you and the boys, you'd come waltzing in, usually right around midnight, and D, he just kind of pop his chin over at me and be like, uh-huh. Yeah. And I knew it's okay. And I just start rolling. I'd start playing his stuff right there. And it was, what was it like when people they started just singing along? I'd say about the second, third week, people were singing right along with your songs.
I think one of the craziest memories I have, it was a New Year's Eve. I want to think it was, say 2010, maybe 2010, 2011. And I remember we were trying to get booked for the New Year's Eve show down there, and we got passed up, and I can't remember who ended up playing. They had another live band on instead for a little while, and then you came on to DJ. I remember they were like, they just had you DJ, and they didn't want anybody live that night.
I think I know the story you're talking about.
And we came in there, and it was me and Chose, and you started playing our records, and we cleared a circle on the dance floor. And that was kind of when I realized that we were really doing something, because as soon as the music came on, everyone in there automatically moved out of the way. They were ready for us to perform and cleared the way for the performance. And I'm listening to people singing, they're mouthing the words along with me and Jay. We don't even have microphones. We're just in there doing our part. You know what I'm saying?
Because I remember I was running about 1,000,000 miles an hour tracking down microphones and cables, and I hooked them up for you. But yeah, that was a crazy moment.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome, man. I was glad to be a part of it.
I was just hoping you didn't get in trouble for it, because I know at the time, Chris, who's running Klondike's at the time, he was on the fence about us, because we were the first hip hop group he had ever allowed to play in Klondike's. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that was a crazy moment. And from then on, I think after that, he kind of saw, okay, these boys they're bringing people in. Mad Men Studios
is a family-run business. They do an absolutely amazing job down here. See, there's my DJ voice right there.
There you go.
Yeah. I was told not to try so hard, that I sound just fine when I'm just talking, but I can't help it.
Hey. Oh, that baby is cooing away.
That baby is loving it.
Hey, we got the first fan. That's the first fan of the podcast.
Right? All right.
Special feature.
Right? The outtakes. There we go. So yeah, it was New Year's Eve, and that circle was building up there. Start from there.
Yeah. Like we had started, I remember the song, I think it was, I want to say, yeah, it was Hella, that we had that dubstep
that
track.
Hella song, yeah.
Yeah. Hella
Look
effed
it
up.
Look it up. Hella effed up, yeah.
No, Hella effed up. It's out. It's still out. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great song.
Yeah,
That
like
is a
I
popular
still I
song.
miss performing that one. Like I haven't performed that song in years, but I like that. Just the energy of that. And I remember when we started going and I got to my verse and I was going and I'm looking at the crowd and they're saying it back with me and they're going and we had everybody in there rocking and it was packed. It was packed in there on a New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
the good old days.
But Connex has always showed me love, man. I remember when they did the grand reopening, when they reopened the bar, I went down there on the opening night and the band that was playing, forgive me, I can't remember who was playing, man. Forgive me if you guys you guys see this, comment your names. Like I couldn't remember, but I remember I walked in there and immediately they had finished one of their songs and they're like, yo, man, we got D from UTN just walked into the building and they drugged me on stage and I went and did a whole 20-minute freestyle performance. And it was like I said, Klondike's has always been good to us as long as I can remember, since I've started doing music.
No, they've definitely been supporting music in the Valley for, well, as long as I've been doing it. I mean, that was who I first started working for was Klondike Mike's and the Carousel Lounge in Anchorage.
Right.
And at that time, they were owned by the same guy. And I started off as a karaoke guy.
Right.
And that was me. I was, DJ Mikey or KJ Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got involved with sound and everything. And they're still, to this day, the manager out there, Jenny, she works very, very
Shout out
hard.
to Jenny, man.
Absolutely. Jenny Westhoff. She's absolutely amazing. Works her butt off. She really does. And one of her big focuses is making sure that we still got music, that we still got it going on, and that there's a good venue for it. So, yeah, a lot of memories in that place.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of memories lost in that place.
A lot of memories. More memories lost than anything, I'd have to say, over the years.
Definitely. So, so tell us about what you got going on right now. With you got AK Rhyme Fest, and you're rocking your own podcast.
Yeah.
That's right, representing right there. So tell us what you got going on right now with AK Rhyme Fest and what projects you got going.
I got a lot going on, man. Right now, like I said, we just started the podcast. I think we're up to our 10th episode. And then we also have the radio show, which airs every Saturday night on 89.5 FM and 89.7 FM. If you don't live in the Valley area, you can air each episode or listen to each episode as it airs. Just go to radiofreepalmer.org and click the live stream button on the homepage. But so shout out to Big Cabbage Radio. Shout out to Joel Ortiz in the Alaska State Fair, because he's actually the one that helped me get the radio show. And thank you to Lee Hendrickson and all the people that work at Big Cabbage Radio and the Palmer Chamber of Commerce. But we as a lot of people might know, Alaska Rhyme Fest started in 2017. It started off as a music festival, and we did it the first year, and then we did it again, and then we promised the people we would do it every year, and then I started promoting it online. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we had built up the Facebook page, and then just over the past few years of just me constantly sharing artist content to the page. It really started picking up steam, and we started getting a whole lot of followers. And then people started looking at it kind of like the music directory, where people would go and see what events were cracking off that weekend, or kind of keep up with what artists were doing, what releases. And it, AK Rhyme Fest started off was that pretty much a passion project. The Rhyme Fest itself, like the festival, was actually the brain project of our head of security, Samir Chetfor, and my longtime tour manager, Ruben Jones, at the time. They wanted to do shout out Ruben, you know what I'm saying?
I love Ruben.
All right. If you see me anywhere performing, man, or if you see me out of town, the tiny Mexican dude that's always with me, my dude Ruben.
That's Ruben.
But we had at first we were just trying to do something for because at the time me and Go Shoe Like It, I Love It, and Deuce Playa had some projects that were dropping one after another. And so shout out to my boy Ghost You Like It, I love it. You know, he's kind of the man behind the mask. He does a lot of my production. And of course, all of the graphic arts are done by Fly Designs, which is Deuce Playa. That's his company. And so
who also, if I'm not meaning to interrupt, but Deuce Playa also, he made the logo for MoonDog Media. He was able to take what I was thinking, which I can't draw at all. At all.
Right.
Like I can barely do stick figures. You know?
Me neither.
Right. But he actually did the logo for MoonDog, and I absolutely love it. If you see it anywhere, make sure you definitely check it out.
He made this, man. You know, the AK Rhyme Fest, all the AK Rhyme Fest's gear and stuff. Actually, but this shirt was printed by, shout out to my man David Locke and Zero Skills Clothing. He actually printed this shirt out. We're going to be having some of his gear we're going to be wearing on the podcast here soon. But so yeah, it started out. We had so many projects dropping that it was going to be like a release project, and I wanted to invite all the artists that I was fans of, and all the artists that, you know, because I'm a fan first and foremost of the artists that are of Alaskan artists. Like, you know what I'm saying? I look at all the other Alaskan artists as my peers. I'm not a competitive person like that. Like, I like to see others win, you know, and if I can help in any way, shape, or form, or provide any kind of outlet, you know, and I brought and at the time, shout out to Mike and Rena, we were throwing Rhymefest on their property. And we brought everybody out, people from Fairbanks,
I remember
people
that one.
from Anchorage.
I was there for that. I was working a lot of different hats on that.
Oh yeah. And thank you, Mike. Mike has always been like, if I ever needed him for any kind of event, and a lot of the time it'd be last minute, I'd be like, hey, bro, so this fell through, man. I'm gonna need you. And he's always right there on time, man, and we make it work. You know, we did the first Rhyme Fest with $250 in our pocket, and somehow we made it happen. And from there, the platform started taking off. And shout out to my man, Lieutenant Ike said, shout out to Twin Lion. Me and Ike really sat down and started working on the platform itself and working on building Rhymefest to be much more than just the festival. We wanted to make it
that brand.
This is where you go when you think about Alaskan local hip hop, or you think about Alaskan music. We want you to think AK Rhymefest. You know, outside of just the fact that the festival premieres a lot of our great artists, that you can go there and this is where you can come and see and keep up with artists. You can see what they're doing, and hopefully it helps artists get more work and get more jobs, and people become more invested and their fan bases grow. And
absolutely,
And so from there, we started doing the podcast and the radio show, and it's just kind of expanded from there. You know, this will be our second time sponsoring the AK Cypher. Shout out to the boy Half Smoke. 2021, the Cypher's coming back around. We're sponsoring it with the Houston Gas Station. Shout out to Round Bass. You know what I'm saying? And we're coming together on our little open mic nights. We're going to be joining MoonDog Media down at Klondike Mics, as a matter of fact, for the Tuesday night open mic nights. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of you artists out there, I'm going to be getting a hold of y'all, man, so y'all can come down and do a couple of tracks, and we'll have the featured artists on the platform. And so, you know, we have more and more content that feature you guys, the artists. The more that we can provide for the artists, the more content we can get out there, the better.
Absolutely. That's one of the big things. I mean, we're on the same mind so much as far as what MoonDog is doing in AK Rhymefest. We don't compete at all.
Exactly.
And in Alaska, it's different doing music and arts and shows up here in Alaska, even without what's going on this year. You really have to come together as a community. If you're making enemies, all you're really doing is limiting yourself,
right? And
how you're going to be able to move on. So, like with what you're doing with AK Rhymefest, MoonDog Media, we're doing a lot of the same thing with the full bands, and everything that are working up here, the regular ones. Those guys, Tripwire, Area 907. So I've been working with these guys for years and years and years, and I'm meeting new ones more and more. I mean, just like what you were saying with Tuesday nights on our open mic. We're doing something at the MoonDog Media open mics at Klondike Mics. No, that sounded a little weird. Open mic at Klondike Mics.
Open mic at Klondike.
Yeah, the MoonDog Media open mic.
Mike at Mike.
Right, exactly. Mike is doing the open mic at Mike's. Yeah. But with our open mics, we actually offer something that I haven't seen anywhere else up here in Alaska. And because of the technology that we have with MoonDog Media, we're able to do this. We are able to offer fully mastered recordings of every artist that appears on the stage there. And so they do their set. And then I've got Josh Fiery, who's my business partner. He runs the live sound end of it. And then I'm over on a computer off the side of the stage, and I master that stuff real quick. And then I give them a USB drive right there. Boom, done. And so they're able to take what they're doing on stage with audience reaction. I mean, we had 2 comics last night. It was kind of 2 of them. One of them, it was his debut, and he rocked the house. Skylar Johnson.
Oh, shout out to my boy Skylar, man.
Skylar is amazing.
What's up, Skylar?
Skylar Johnson. So it's open mic, and he's been saying he wanted to get up on that stage for weeks and weeks and weeks. And
I'm sad I missed it.
Oh man, it was great. It was great. He works in the kitchen. He's a cook back there. He's an amazing kid. I've known him for years, and his brother-in-law, Scotty.
Oh, yeah, Scotty.
Oh yeah, miss you,
What's up, Scotty?
I miss you, man. You better hit me up on Facebook. Just saying, I've been trying. But yeah, he comes out and he's like, well, I got a minute. No, I'm doing the close down and everything. Do you think I could do it? And the special guest host we had was the comedian Sabrina Spears, an Alaskan comedian. She does a great job. She's really funny herself. Definitely that Alaska mom humor. And it's really great. And I told her this is his first time on stage. Now, she's been doing it for a number of years, and she's gotten that mentorship from the other people who are up here. He came up, and then it was the first joke that he did, and audience was hooked at that point. And then watching, now this is the whole MoonDog Media thing. This is what I love about it, was watching what happened after he was done. Because they got the next act up, and Sabrina went back over to the kitchen door, and she sat there and she gave him that pep talk, that first timer. You did amazing. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to work on.
Yep.
I mean, and that is what MoonDog Media and AK Rhyme Fest is about, is the artists actually, helping spread that knowledge and get that out there.
Well, and and being in Alaska, and I have to remind people a lot of the time, because what I'm saying, like I said, shout out to my boy Go Shoot Like It, I Love It, who does all my publication. He's stationed in Seattle, and he's an international artist, you know what I'm saying? So he deals with artists from all over the world. And I have to distinguish between the difference between us as Alaskan artists and artists everywhere else. And the biggest distinguishing factor is always the fact that we were building the scene in those days. It wasn't here until we started making it happen.
Absolutely.
There was no market to help streamline. There was no podcasting. There was not now, you know what I'm saying? It's finally got to the point to where us as artists, the way the industry has changed, and it's targeting and it's forcing artists to do more, you know what I'm saying? And now, being the fact that entrepreneurship that's naturally inside of a lot of us Alaskan artists, because it's not here, this is where we're starting to shine. Because a lot of artists I know, they do their own production. Oh, yeah. They make their own beats. They shoot their own videos. And as people have seen, a shout out to my girl Charisma, and IB Lit, Mastermind Productions, and Shoestring Studios. We have collaborated a few times within the last year on a couple of live projects, and we highlighted a few different artists on there. Shout out to Caitlin, who she's got a single out right now. She was on the first Charisma Live, and we just recently shot a video, and we through this we connected with the Arctic Drift Gallery. Shout out to Marcus, and what they do is their whole dance crew, and what they, you know what I'm saying, how they were just so open to let us use their warehouse and use their space, and we were able to come in and shoot all of these amazing visuals there. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people that are seeing and taking what they have and donating it, or making themselves available to the arts and being like, okay, we want to help. We want to see this happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so throughout all the years of building this music scene, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I have so much pride in Alaskan music in general, because as being on, being on the forefront, I started when I was 15. I've been in the music scene since I was 15 years old. So from that to
number 17, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm working, and it's funny because when I talk to people about music, I have to tell them, in a lot of ways, I'm a new artist and an old artist at the same time. And it's weird. You know what I'm saying? I've already had 2 careers already. Because when I started, we were still selling CDs out of the trunk. sitting out in front of, Fred Meyer's parking lot trying to get as many of them off as possible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's the digital age where we don't have to do that. People don't even have CD players in their car anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
So I mean, we've entered this new digital age, and now I'm really seeing Alaskan hip hop really come to the forefront.
Today's technology. I mean, right now I got to say, if it wasn't for the digital age and with the changing gear and everything, honestly, we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Right.
I mean, we're shooting on DSLR cameras that look absolutely great, shooting in HD. You guys are going to see here in a moment what this whole show is all about. And again, it would not be possible without the technology. Now, for a long time, I got to say, learning how to do sound, I wouldn't touch a digital board.
Right.
For like 15 years, I was like, no. Because my whole thing was with the big, huge soundboard and everything. Right. If I hear it, I can see it.
Right.
I hear it, I see it. And it was digital, especially when it first started coming out. It was daunting because, you got to go through 3 menus to change one thing.
Right.
And it's just gotten so much easier now to the point where we're able to turn Madmen Studios into a live venue. Right. Which is going to lead me into our first break right now. We're going to have D the Lyricist taking the studio here next to us. We're actually filming in 2 studios right now. And what song are you going to be hearing first?
First track, this is Blue and Gold. It's off of my last album that came out in 2018, King of the Valley 2.0. Released through 3301 Music Group with Aaron Hodge, Ghost You Like It, I Love It. And Mr. O, shout out to Mr. O and the Mr. O Show, Marcus Vogelpohl, 106.1 FM, where I got my start in doing this media thing. Because I traveled with the Mr. O Show for like a year or 2 years, and we went all over DJing and doing the show for KONR 106.1. O is out right now, actually, just going around the United States and just interviewing people from all over. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Shout out to O, and O taught me a lot, but he worked on me a lot with this album, and it wouldn't have, without all of the major key players that helped put this album together. He was a big, he helped make Hills and Valleys, which was like the biggest single that came off of the album. And Blue and Gold was actually produced by Ghost You Like It, I Love It. He sent me the beat, and I actually recorded it it was mixed and mastered by Deuce Playa.
Nice.
So
cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a quick shout out right now because first off, we got to tell you how MoonDog Media works and how Sessions is going to work. Is like I said in the beginning, this whole podcast is about helping those artists keep what they're doing and making money. So we got a very special thing that we're doing as the production itself. MoonDog Media, we're going to be going out and getting our sponsors, which we do have some great sponsors we're going to be mentioned during this podcast. However, if you look in the description of this podcast, you're going to find the Venmo directly for D the Lyricist and his projects going on. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and click that and you send some money, say your thank yous. It goes right to D. We're not touching that. And any guests that we ever have on this show, we're going to have that to where if you want to, you get on there and you show your appreciation right to the artists. Of course, we got to give a big shout out right now to one of our sponsors, New You Magic Skin Conditioner and Repair. This stuff is absolutely amazing. I've been working with these guys for a little over a year. I helped them out with their IT stuff. It's a great partnership that they got going on. You can find them on Amazon or you can go to New You Magic. Now that's spelled with a J.
Alaska's long summer days and dark cold winters are hard on your skin. But now, an incredible product from the top of the world is available to give you the relief you seek.
New You Magic worked when nothing else would.
New You Magic is an intensive skin conditioner made in Alaska from 100% natural ingredients. It holds the answer for dry skin, eczema, psoriasis, and more.
You don't have to endure chronic skin problems any longer.
Try New You Magic for natural healing today.
And it's just one great formula with just a couple additives in the different types. So it's newumagic.net. Right now, we're going to pass it over to D the Lyricist. He's going to go ahead and take that mic, and this is going to be Blue and Gold.
Yeah. What up? Because of my involvement, the best kept secrets out of the vault is the venomous high voltage. Stimulated with the skill, my euphoric formula is ill. With the brute force, the George Foreman right to the grill. The pale horse to the full horse with the holy bit. Only thing to fear is fear itself and it's standing here. My diminished, my murder monkey's my engineer. Multi trying to mimic my mouthpiece and made me appear beast. In need of substance, feed me beats, please. I drink melodies and metabolize symphony. This rapping shit is recycled the human centipede. I'm about to set it on sure the seed as a city D. You looking at the epitome, no pity for anybody can hit you to a pivot with salt of the king. Leonardo's lieutenant icon, the lions was trying to pride you inside of the violence from my regime, nigga. Cause you don't want none with mine. My niggas shut down streets and throw signs. You talk your way into a chalk outline. You be scared just to walk outside, nigga. I'm from the 574, better recognize. Hit the gas that I zoom, see the smoke from the tires. I'ma only tell you one last time. Blue and gold, everything blue and gold. I'm from the cold where most don't go. Blue and gold, everything 907 on mine's that like you know. Blue and gold, everything feeling like golden state. I rep my home. Blue and gold, everything blue and gold. Blue and gold, everything blue and gold. Everything blue and gold. Blue and gold, everything blue and gold. Everything blue and gold. Blue and gold, everything blue and gold. Everything blue and gold. 907 that like you know. 907 that like you know. Blue and gold. You better watch it, I walk up on them, you got a problem. What you gonna do about it? I doubt it is ocular socket, just got in the lake with the lockness. Targeted locked in, my stomach doesn't get upset. I dissect and digest these guys. Know that I'm a bright vet, but I'm next in line. You can hear the dialect. I am from the north side, and it keeps running across the west like a force fire. I'm shifting the paradigm. These Autobots are Optimus Prime, need a tuner. I'm too what? It's crunch time, I'll prove it. This is my silence outside with sliceless. You can hear the sirens outside and might get a little brownier than expected. Ravenous like an unfair beat, grant your death. I'm killing the game and marketing on my bucket list. The monster inside my mind is unhinged, so it's something. I don't give no fucks. You know what? I'ma get it poppin' like the ace with the rose cup. Yeah, I started from the bottom, but I rose up. Now I'm knocking niggas out my lane, need a tow truck. Cause if you think I'm not, you should grow some. You should shut your mouth to know you roll some, roll one, smoke some. You know I've been holding on the home front since 05. You to get niggas showing up. Gold, everything blue and gold. I'm from the cold where most don't go. Blue and gold, everything 907 on mine's that like you know. Blue and gold, everything feeling like golden state. I rep my home. Blue and gold, everything blue and gold. Gold, everything blue and gold, everything blue and gold, blue and gold, everything blue and gold, everything blue and gold, blue and gold, everything blue and gold, everything blue and gold. 907 that like you know, 907 that like you know, blue and gold. Already.
All right, welcome back. It is MoonDog Setionz. My name is Michael B. Dillon, and as you just heard there, the one, the only D the Lyricist in the studio here today. Thank you so much for coming out. You're doing a great job by this.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's really great to. It's really good to see the work again. You know, it's we haven't worked together much here recently. Yeah, but we've always been keeping tabs on what's going on.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I remember coming over and what a lot of people don't know, and I tell people this all the time. Like when Peaks and Valleys, I got to hear it in its earliest stages. Like when you were first working on it, you know, when you used to tell me about it. And so like, congratulations, brother, on everything that you've done with that and seeing all the success that it's made, man. I knew it was, I loved it from the story. So I knew it was going to turn out to be. Yeah,
you were right there in the living room while I was sounding stuff out. For those of you who don't know, I got my start in professional entertainment stuff with film, with doing film industry stuff. And he's referring to a movie that we did back in 2016 called Peaks and Valleys. And yeah, I remember those nights sitting up in my living room, just sitting there while I'm jotting stuff down. Like, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And you just sitting back on, dude, that's messed up.
Well, I mean, to anybody, man, those out there who know Mike, or if you ever had the pleasure of had to sit down with Mike, him telling his stories and his ideas, he gets animated about. Like when you go through telling him, like I can see him. Like, because you get so descriptive about how you want it to go. And, you know, it's amazing how your mind works like that, how you can paint that picture out.
Yeah, you say amazing. I say it's frustrating because I tell you, if anybody's ever written a script or anything like that, you know, you have all the parts going on in your head. So it's basically controlled schizophrenia. Right. So, so speaking of Peaks and Valleys, actually, we got this in common. You had a project. No. That was called Hills and Valleys, and it had to do with kind of the same area, of course. You know, Matt is to sit in a valley, And we're going to be hearing some of that later on too. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that song in particular?
Yeah, that and like I said, and I remember you called me after the song released.
Yes, I did.
We were talking about like, he was like, yo, like it being hills and valleys and peaks and valleys, and it was the sample is actually from Taryn Wells. It's a cover that he did of a gospel song called Hills and Valleys. And I was cleaning my house one day, and I don't listen to a lot of like just Christian music, but you know what I'm saying, my old lady does. And I had a playlist on there, and it slipped into her playlist, and that song came on, and I don't know what it was, but something about the song made me pause, and it just started bringing back all of these memories of me growing up in the valley and a lot of the things that I experienced. And I was like, man, like if I ever get an opportunity, I'm going to sample this track, and I want to make a song out of it. And I had just met Mr. O, and at the time I was signed to a record label called Atmosphere 6. Shout out to my homeboy Derek Hensley. And I approached him with the sample, and he was like, wow. He's like, well, I'm not quite sure I know what you want me to do with it. And he had a couple of ideas. And I remember I was sitting around with Mr. O at his studio at Ground Zero Labs Music, and I played the song for him. And if anybody's ever had the pleasure of being in the studio with O is just...
He's focused.
Yeah. When it comes to sound, he's a genius. And I gave him the general idea of what I wanted it to sound like. Like I just kind of beatboxed it to him, and like within seconds he had mapped out the sample. Like he clipped it. He's like, dude, he's like, you mean something like this? And then he showed me how to map it out. And we spent the first 3 days, I think, on just mapping the beat out, like on how I wanted the percussion to sound and where I wanted the sample to come back in. And then I ran it by Derek Hensley, you know, and he helped get the rights and stuff for it, and we put it out, and it was the song itself was inspired by a conversation I had with my brothers. You know what I'm saying? I was born in Fairbanks, Alaska, related to the Coffee family. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Shaw Coffee. You know what I'm saying? And my brother Jonathan and my brother Adrian. We were having a conversation, and my brother Jonathan's passed Juicy, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to my brother Juicy. But I remember we were talking about, because we got separated when we were younger. I grew up out in the valley. They stayed in Fairbanks because I have a different mom. And, you know, I remember my brother was saying, like, we all need to do a song that kind of explains that time of our life that was surrounded around my father passing away. And just that sample and everything. And I remember after we had made the beat, spent 3 days, I was sleeping in O's studio. You know what I'm saying?
That, yeah.
And
if you ain't slept in a studio, then you ain't a musician, right?
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I remember the first night that the beat was finished, I stayed up that whole night and wrote the song. And the next morning, it was like 7:30 in the morning, Mr. O wakes up. He's like, all right, man, you want to start working? I was like, the song's done. And he's like, what? And I stood up and did all 3 verses, one take. Knocked him out. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, he just kind of looked at me and was like, all right, well, there's the song.
That's
and he started,
song.
you know.
It's a very, very powerful song, for sure.
Thank you, man. You know, this song means a lot to me. And I was recognized by the Palmer Chamber of Commerce. They had me come to their annual dinner, and the song has taken me a lot of places. And it's one of those things, like, you know, I don't know if all artists get this, but like one of the closest songs to you that you make in your career aren't always your biggest hits. And
yeah, sometimes you're recorded for you,
right?
Too, you know,
and
you choose to share that. You know, it's.
And it's to date probably is still my most recognized song is Hills and Valleys.
It's a great song. It's a great song. I tell you what, without further ado, let's go ahead and hear this song because we've been talking about it.
Let's get it.
So once again, we got D the Lyricist taking the microphone, performing Hills and Valleys.
Let's go.
Why am
last son of Johnny Shaw. Born in October in the interior. Story old as time to go over. When I was old enough to know what the noises were around my window. All that clapping was a round of applause. In 94 we moved to Willow. At the end of the window we packed up with you all in one low. We humble with nowhere to go. Me mom to the women's shelter on our own. We went to the road on the Beaver Street right after my dad was diagnosed with cancer. Still strangers so far away from home. What we gonna do after daddy is gone? Daddy was strong, it wasn't long. Now mom's on her own. And my brother couldn't cope, so I bombed, bro. Back to the banks he go. Feel like I didn't belong, cause I just lost my hero. But I had friends though, that became kinfolk. And all young kids grow, but we stayed 10 toes down. Soon I had family all over town. Brothers, sisters, and uncles, and I hope I made you proud, you know. I try to release what's been leached inside of me, dying for freedom. I feel my feet for what features. Reasonable, not cause I need them, it's cause I love this shit. This is what kept me from life in the business, but life to spend what I'm up against. It's doubters and waters from what was once free. When one wins, we all do. Some folks just don't follow through. God was right, I should follow you. Wasn't far from a fall of you. A father figure shorter than jailhouse blue. Was gassed up and lost fuel from past feuds. Niggas with attitude. That's how it had to happen, we battle crew. Careful, that little rascal is bad news. I get at him cause I had something to prove. Son of Adam, I bit the apple and had a couple kids, so I must move. And now I got a deal, dreams becoming real. I am doing everything, hands in everything. My kids can't skip a meal, so if it's in his will, I leave millions in my will. I'm the man in the mountain looking over the valley, still in the know. I rep the valley cause it raised me. Mama moved me up out of the drama where the banks be. I remember I couldn't wait to be 18 to return to my birthplace to investigate what my name means. Met up with Red and the renegade of the bank scene. Youngest of the Shaws with open arms, they welcome me. Such a juicy said listen carefully. We cut from a cloth of a different tapestry, unique as a feather. So I found that I stayed out somehow. The South is such a part of me, the tale of two cities to whom I owe everything. I scream at K like it's Cleveland and MGK. Many evenings off in the rage on the east with my nigga Jay. I ate off the same plate as the OGs you come to praise. From making bangers with body to chop the game with Soule. I'm running things, I'm the king and that's the title I take. I am the king of the valley, but I'm a child from the banks, you know?
All right, y'all. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring D the Lyricist up again to the microphone, performing this time the song "Every Day." Every day. What's a quick word on this one? As a lead in.
This one was. This is another one that was produced. Go Shoot Like It, I Love It sent me the beat. This was the first song on the album that I got a chance to collaborate with my homeboy Lieutenant Ike Said. Me and him have 2 projects coming out together here soon. One of them with just me and him called Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, which I'm also performing our single that I just released, my recent single that's out now featuring Justin Pendergrass of Nuisance Music, nice. Which is Small Town. Mm-hmm. And me and Ike collaborated on this song for King of the Valley. Lieutenant Ike Said he's on the hook. So nice. And this one was, you know what I'm saying, I enjoy performing this song, you know what I'm saying? I got to, it's one of my personal favorites.
All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, D the Lyricist and the song "Every Day."
sit in the chain, they can jump, they can shit in the train. Might have Kennedy run back up on the track again. I'm one of the people that you deal locomotive. You already should have known where this was going. I've been in the rappers to form, but whatever I'm on. About to bust in the fit to get beyond. Testing with the guns, if another would drop bomb. Always been a shark inside of a small pump. Get them on the TV, they try to Stevie get way Charles. Go harder than Jordan into the playoffs. I see all of them never taking a day off. My clickers connected calling the chaos. Cause they made it to get it at all costs, K-Bone. I put this all together to bear my soul. Busted the Americans, they better sit in their home. They said this ain't I'm a diamond in the cornerstone. The corners that I've roamed, the blocks that I've been, the places I've seen, the people I've been with, chasing my dreams, don't tell the finish, all in my will, I'm stomping through trenches. I don't got a problem with niggas, but if you really wanna rumble, we can do it. I've been going on and on along, I've been going on, trying to stop me, it's useless.
Gotta paint the pieces I know, straight out the concrete on the road. I'm a beast through the life that I chose, conquer to survive and give it myself.
Closed mouth, don't get fed, don't work, don't eat. I rap for my side every day of the week.
For the pain as deep as I know, straight out the concrete on the road. I'm a beast through the life that I chose, conquer to survive and give it myself.
Closed mouth, don't get fed, don't work, don't eat. I rap for my side every day of the week. They the one that comes up when he decided to over incident. Many quarters to the turn of the century, get it busy. When he was getting jiggy with it up in experiment, I am a wizard of the edge, and I feel the grip of the most. You gotta see the king go dumb, my kingdom come, told him my kid don't run. My ink don't run, I get it in no chunk, my pen stroke big go, I'm cut though, son. I ain't never been the type to play around. I ain't been a town in the underground. Too many brothers taking leaps and bounds. Said I'm until you get beat down. I corrected the kids today with style. I corrected the make it to save the file. I am the one that isn't debatable now, because I've been out of me, I don't pay to the crowd. The corners I've roamed, the blocks that I've been, the places I've seen, the people I've been with, chasing my dreams, was all till it finish, all that my will was stomping through trenches. I don't got a problem with niggas, but let me get an example, I'ma do it. I am from the state of AK, I came to change things, and this is more than just music.
For the pain as deep as I know, straight out the concrete on the road. I'm a beast through the life that I chose, conquer to survive and give it myself.
Closed mouth, don't get fed, don't work, don't eat. I rap for my side every day of the week.
And for the pain as deep as I know, straight out the concrete on the road. I'm a beast through the life that I chose, conquer to survive and give it myself.
Closed mouth, don't get fed, don't work, don't eat. I rap for my side every day of the week.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Michael B. Dillon here again with D the Lyricist, and we got one more song that he's going to be sharing with us. This one is Small Town, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes,
Small Town. We can relate to that. You know, we live out in Palmer.
Right.
For the international audience out there, Palmer is a spot on the map. I mean, it's not even a dot, really. It's a spot on the map, but it's
a small section outside of Wasilla. You know what I'm saying? Actually,
the main highway does run through it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. You got that.
Like if you're coming up the Alcan, you have to go through Palmer, and Palmer is a huge tourist attraction. There's a lot of people, you know what I'm saying?
It's the gateway.
Yeah, you know, you get to everywhere else in Alaska through Palmer. And Small Town, like I said, this is from my upcoming project with me and Lieutenant Ike said, called Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. I also mentioned we have another project coming out called Divinity, which is with myself, Charisma, IB Lit, and Lieutenant Ike said, and then me and IB Lit also have a project coming out called Pandemonium with the song Eternity, which is out now as well.
Which we are definitely going to make sure that we get all of our audience out there a piece of here hopefully soon.
Yeah, shout out, man. And it's been great. Like, I got 4 major releases. All 4 of those major releases are going to be coming out here soon, and then that's not including that I've just started working on my solo project. Nice. I got a lot of content coming out from, you know, for everybody, you know what I'm saying? To everybody right now, King of the Valley 2.0 is out on all downloadable platforms. You can get it right now, King of the Valley 2.0. But I got a whole bunch of stuff coming out for you guys. Eternity is out now. Go get it. Small Town is out right now.
In fact, with Small Town, we're just going to go ahead and get you up on that stage right
now. Let's do this, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, D the Lyricist once again with Small Town.
I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I come from a small town. A small town in the middle of nowhere. Came for the boonies, just you and me. At the time I was torn between what I wanted in life and what was expected of me. Although I walked through the valley amongst the shadows, I've seen beauty, destruction, and anarchy, alcoholics, and fiend. And that was all as a team. But it's always survivors only for the fittest. That the finding things I can envision. I know I can have it if I stay persistent. I was a sensitive sipping since I was 16 or so. I went from pulling me a mother, one spiral out of control. To being lost in my zone. The place that raised me drove me crazy to turn around and save me. Just what I need. The love that you gave me is exactly what set me free. In the middle of nowhere. I came from nothing now. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. Out of the shadows now. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I come from a small town. A small town in the middle of nowhere. I'm a hustler, ain't no doubt about it. I came from nothing now, I make something out here. Don't ever forget me, miss me, angry. I'll always be a child of, go down in this history. Many a dream to get up out of, always to be my home. Lifestyle crazy. You made me an A-town baby boy. Same time you saved me, the ways that you changed me. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I came from nothing now. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. Out of the shadows now. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I come from a small town. Ain't no doubt about it. Small town in the middle of nowhere.
All right, everybody. Once again, Michael B. Dillon here, MoonDog Media Setionz. It has been a great first episode. I would like to very much thank my good buddy, my family right here, D the Lyricist, with the AK Rhyme Fest. Yeah, he did some great work down here at the studio. I can't wait to get home and start looking at this and putting it all together so I can get it ready for all you folks. Once again, you can check out MoonDog Media on our Facebook, MoonDog Media AK. You can see everything that we do, everything that we got going on. Our website will be up very, very soon, and that'll be moondogmedia.net. Mm-hmm. And this is an experience. This is the first podcast.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to have been on the first episode. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to have you on our podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you
Thursday
know
nights, 9 p.m. You guys can catch us on Facebook at AK Rhyme Fest. We got a bunch of stuff coming. The website's going to be coming out soon right now. You guys can go to AK Rhyme Fest, Alaska, the YouTube, subscribe and like. We have Alaskan artists on there, all the Alaskan artists on there. You know what I'm saying? We have everybody, or most everybody. And the ones that we don't have, please contact us so we can get you on that playlist. We've designed it to where everybody can go there. Artists can look up other artists. You guys can help these artists get their views up. This all goes back to the artists. It goes back to their YouTube. So, you know what I'm saying? As far as the AK Rhyme Fest Festival, I'm going to have more about that coming up soon. We're going to have a lot more coming from the platform. Follow us, like, subscribe at AK Rhyme Fest on Instagram, at AK Rhyme Fest on Facebook. And just, you know what I'm saying? Follow us on social media. I'll be on there, you know what I'm saying? And if, to all artists out there, if you haven't already, add me, tag me in anything, and I will make sure it will get posted onto the AK Rhyme Fest page. And if you are a local artist and if you'd like to get on the radio show, send your clean MP3s to Radio Free Palmer, or send your clean MP3s to rhymefest.radio@gmail.com. They have to be clean, though.
Oh, yeah.
But for the podcast that goes down every Thursday night at 9 p.m., and we showcase on Facebook Live, just send in, I can play whatever songs. It doesn't have to be clean. Just send in your music there, and I can showcase it right there.
No
for
FCC
the radio,
for that one.
Yeah, but for the radio, it has to be clean. So get your edited tracks done and get them into me, man.
And of course, the links for everything that we've been talking about on the show will be down in the description, so you can check out all that stuff. Direct links, we'll make sure that we get that in there. Again, make sure you check out, it's going to be the first link on there. It's going to be to show your appreciation to AK Rhymefest and D the Lyricist himself. So you can go ahead and drop your Venmo there. I think we might have some other options, of course. No. But that is what this is all about. I would like to thank each and every one of you for showing up and taking a listen to what we got going on. It is the first of many to come. Yay. I mean, even when all this stuff is done, I hope that that we're still rocking the sessions. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm already booked to be back here with Divinity.
That's true. That's true. We did book you again. Yeah.
I'm gonna be back here. Yep. Be back here in January. I'll be up in Fairbanks in January. Shout out to Tony Taylor. We're gonna be at the Big Eye January 23rd. And sometime that month, I don't know, I'm not going to give it away yet, but Divinity's going to be here. My homegirl Charisma, my homegirl IB Lit, and Lieutenant Ike said is going to go down.
And we got some big news that day too. Super secret. So that means you're going to have to tune in, especially if you're a fan. Once again, my name is Michael B. Dillon with MoonDog Media. Thank you very much, everybody. Stay safe, stay warm, and keep shining.